So let's keep in mind the people, this is 4th grade, take it seriously. Shania's gonna start.
Okay.
So, okay. Why do one of y'all first and then the
No,
other?
he's not being.
I mean, I don't know. If you want to ask some questions, I don't have a problem.
You can just answer the questions with him.
Yeah, I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yeah, and he can just come. Okay, all right. So the first question is, what are you all's names?
Well, I'm Officer Nichols.
I'm
Full
also.
name?
Officer Herbert Nichols, Herbert. And the last name is Nichols.
And I'm Officer Kevin Kentish. Last name is Kentish.
One more time.
Ken.
No, what's your, just say it.
Kevin Kentish.
Okay, what are you all's ages?
I'm 31.
I'm 20.
What division are you part of?
Well, we both work for the Washington Metropolitan Police Department, 5th District Vice Office.
What positions do you two hold?
We are narcotic investigators.
Where you both from? Did y'all already say that?
No. I'm from the DC area.
I'm from New York.
And how many years have both of you had in the field?
You could just say both around 6.
Okay. So who's going first?
I have a question. Growing up, kids often see cops as a real-life superhero. What was your view on law enforcement as a kid, and how has that differed as you've grown?
Well, when I was younger, I always thought that if you stayed away from the police and you didn't get in trouble, that was the best thing to do. You know, because just being from this area, you know, a young black man and everything, I've been stopped by the police and everything, and you know, I've been stopped, given tickets and all that type of stuff. You know, so I didn't necessarily think it was negative. I just didn't want nothing to do with them because I just didn't want to be in trouble. Now that I'm a police officer, you know, I'm 31 years old now. I just have a different outlook on everything now. Now I see them more as people who are there for us, you know, and you know, as long as that you comply and you just, you know, you just do the right thing, you know, for the most part, you know, police are here to help us and not, you know, nothing negative, you know. So.
Okay, so when you first went into the force, what were you expecting to be doing, and what are you actually doing now that's different from what you were expecting?
Well, what was I expecting? Well, to be honest, when I first joined the police department, my father's, he was a retired police officer. So he had something to do with why I wanted to become a police officer. But for the most part, I just needed to make some money. You know, I had just graduated from Oregon State. You know, I had a degree and still wasn't really making too much money.
That's pretty much everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody came from money. I mean, me personally, what you see on TV and what you think it is a lot more funner than the job actually is.
Mm-hmm.
Can you say that?
Mm-hmm.
You don't really realize how much paperwork there is, how much rules and guidelines. You see TV, you see cops. All you see is the chase, the fun. You don't see the paperwork afterwards. You don't see them having to explain their actions. So, like I said, I think I came for the money, but I thought it would be funner than it is. It's still fun, but looking from the outside in, it's not as fun as you would think it is.
Question. As a police officer, what type of psychological training do you receive?
To be honest, we really don't get too much.
Seattle.
Oh well, yeah. We have some training. Well, we have a CIO training, which is a crisis intervention officer training, because we deal with a lot of we call them MOs. That's just people who have mental disorders, and this training allows us to kind of talk them a little better. You know, try to get an understanding of, you know, because a lot of these people, they have you know, schizophrenia, and you know, these other disorders. So you have to be able to relate to them, you know, to the point where you're not talking down to them or whatever, because they just have problems. So that's one of the few trainings that we have.
I think it's like it's a week class basically. They have people from mental health come down, talk to you. You'll take field trips around. You'll sit down with people that actually have the diseases. They'll tell you their impressions of the police and their interactions, and then you pretty much get a feel of how it happens. And then from there, you just continue your training by basically every time we deal with somebody who's supposed to have a mental health problem, they're supposed to actually call an officer that's certified to deal with those people. So you pick up things along the way as far as in addition to the training. That's pretty much it, basically. Besides the academy, that's the only training we really get as far as dealing with people with psychological issues.
My name's Tyrese again. What type of training does a cop need in order to hold a gun?
We go to firearms training twice a year, and in that twice a year, the training what it consists of is you have a course of fire where you shoot from 25 feet away, 20, 15, 10, and so on. This training also allows us to train us to load our guns, move and fire and stuff like that. The problem is that we can't train to shoot humans. You see what I'm saying? Like a live human, a real human. All this training is controlled. So the target is not going to come back and
The target's not going to move.
yeah, he's not going to move. He's not going to shoot at you. So the training that we do have as far as firearms is a controlled environment. So if I shoot this target, I know that it's not going to do nothing to me. The problem is when you get out on the street, you may have a gun or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And I have my gun out, that training, I have to make sure that training, I'm there to protect myself, because I don't know what you're going to do, But as far as answering your question, twice a year is our course of is our firearms training.
Our training is, the biggest misconception is our training includes from here up. So when people ask, why don't we shoot at legs? Why don't we shoot arms? That's not how we're trained. We're trained to shoot from here up, and they train us to shoot here.
Center mass.
If I shoot and try to hit somebody in the legs, I'm gonna miss the complete target, and I won't be carrying a gun. So that's one of the biggest misconceptions. When people think, hey, why'd you have to shoot him here? Or why'd you have to shoot him here? That's how we're trained.
Yeah,
if they change it, then they change it.
Yeah, so that's pretty much it.
Do y'all mind if I ask all my questions together, man? I got like 7. Okay. My first question is, in what ways are cops personally affected by the things done on the job? And that's like, whether it's things that you do, where there's consequences for things that you do that are good.
Like I tell everybody, police officers are human, like everybody else.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Every day in the street, if you're going out there and you're seeing, dead bodies, and we've seen plenty of dead bodies and all this negative stuff out there. I mean, you try to not bring all that stuff home.
That's what that juvenile that shot his friend was playing with the gun.
Oh yeah. We had a situation where we responded to a shooting, and we go inside the house, and there was a young man, and he had just got shot. Well, what happened was that they were playing with the gun, and his own family member had shot him. And that was a young dude. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, one of my first homicides that I ever went on was a 16-year-old. You know what I'm saying? So that type of stuff, I mean, I'm human like everybody else. So when I go home, I try to shut all that stuff out, whatever. But that stuff can affect you as well, whatever. Going home and just trying to calm down and stuff like that. On my off time, I try not to do anything police related. I'm just trying to go out there, go to movies or go to the bar or something like that. I don't want to see anything that has to do with police, just because I'm trying to tone all that stuff down or whatever.
As far as what you do bad or good, in this department, what I've learned is you can go from the hero one day to the goat the next day, quick. You can save a child from a burning building, then tomorrow get in a shooting that's not justified, and what you did yesterday has nothing to do with what you did today. You can get awards, you can do whatever you want, basically positive, but it's a short-term memory as far as this department. So in order to keep up that good reputation, it's probably best that you keep doing good. They have short memories, and I think my partner will agree with me. This is one of the jobs I will say that if you get fired from, it's kind of hard to bounce back.
Mm-hmm.
You can't really get fired from the police department and go into a job of importance and just say, hey, I got fired from the police department. They're going to want to know why. And if you got fired, it's probably going to be hard for you to bounce back.
Okay, so based on your responses, what I get is towards you. You said that you were from New York. Have you worked in a police division outside of DC?
No.
Okay, so I just asked, according to experience, if you could kind of give like a percent of how many the cases that you all work on or investigations that you do, how much is like youth, whether the youth are the suspect, the victim, like
You say youth?
yeah, how many are involved?
A lot. I think in D.C., you know, when I grew up here in the city, you know, early 90s, crime here in the city was at an all-time high. You know, you're talking about 400 homicides a year, you know, guns, drugs everywhere. Now, you don't see the violent crimes anymore. You know, you're seeing a lot of crimes that younger people are getting involved with, like thefts. You know, these iPhones and iPads, you know, people walking down the street with an iPhone in their hand talking, and somebody go snatch it. But that's a young person crime. There ain't no old dude trying to steal a cell phone and run away. So we're seeing a lot of that now, a lot of robberies and stuff like that. It's still probably like 50-50, you know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you know, you're seeing a spike in crime with younger people because it's just like an opportunity that they just, you know, they're taking right now.
Depends on the type of crime. I mean, you look at homicides, it's going to be very few juveniles. You look at thefts, it's probably going to be juveniles. Robberies is probably going to be split. Assaults is probably going to be more juveniles than anything. When you add everything up, it's probably 50-50, but there's certain crimes that juveniles take over.
And I also think that since the city is changing, because it's changed since you guys were younger, you're having a lot of out-of-towners move here now. So with that being said, you know, these people aren't city people, so they're walking outside and stuff, and they're doing stuff that they think that if those over in Virginia, you know, they can get away with it. Not over here. You know, you can't walk down the street with a big huge iPad, you know, just playing and listening to your music. You know what I'm saying? You just can't do that, unfortunately. Whatever. So
The thing about it is, most juveniles that commit crimes, they know, you know what, until I turn 17, 18, the system's just gonna treat me with kid gloves. I mean, you could commit a homicide at 15 and get juvenile life, which means you'll be out by what, 18?
Yeah, 18. Yeah.
You commit that at 18 or 20, you're talking about 15, 20-year jail sentence. So the system kind of does treat juveniles treat them with kid gloves, which means, you know what I mean? First lockup, if it's not serious, you'll get diverted, which means you'll go home with your parents within an hour and it won't even count. So the people that commit these crimes, they've been through the system before and they know I got a little leeway as a juvenile. And for the most part, most adults know that, hey, if I need something done, it's probably better that I'd have a juvenile do it because the penalties are not as harsh for them.
So can I have you answer this question? How have you seen families react, and these are like families of victims or suspects or whatever, how have you seen them react after killings that are pretty much on the side of a police?
Killings of a police or killings of...
Killings of a police.
See, the thing about it is most families are sympathetic when you're dealing with people, mature people. When you're dealing with people that's still young in mindset, they react, I'm happy it's done, stuff like that. They're not very sympathetic. But for the most part, and the people I've dealt with, because I'll say it like this, how people deal with you regardless of what happens to other officers is going to be based on how you've treated people in the past in that area and what their feelings are towards you. So they may not like the police, but in my experience, I've never mistreated anybody in the street. Anywhere I go, I have respect from juveniles to parents to mothers. So me, I've really never felt like, they may say it behind my back, but when it comes to talking to me, they really never come at me sideways or come at me wrong, because I have that respect based on the type of work I've done in the street and how I treated them. It might be different from you.
I agree with you.
That's good. So can you answer, how do your families as cops, and how do your families react towards like your killings, like things that you do? Is it different from?
Well, my you talking about my personal family or just families down the street?
Pretty much like your personal family, but even if you have like, I don't want to say colleagues, but like coworkers, like how generally do cop families, the families?
Well, most cop families or families with officers, they have an understanding of the job. Right. You know, so they know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? They're less inclined to think negative or say anything negative about themselves. You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, with my family, you know, my father, you know, he spent 20-some years as a police officer. He was a Air Force vet. So my brother was a police officer here in the district. So you know, we have understanding of police officers. So they, you know, anytime they watch them on TV, you know, they're not judging or anything on TV. They want to know from me, whatever. So as far as just killings and stuff, they have an understanding of what the job is. So they're not, you know, it's nothing negative. It's just is what it is, really.
So it's more so like they just ask like why or whatever. It's not so much.
Yeah. It's almost like they're you know, they're doing their own little investigation first. You know what I'm saying? Because people from outside of police families, sometimes they're quick to judge things before they even see it. You know, they see the title or something, and they're putting the blame on somebody before they even know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, people in families of police officers are just less likely to make judgment on something. They'll ask you before.
So on the job, what are like key things, or it could be like 3 things. What are things that make you feel in danger either on the job, like on the street, or when you're figuring out things in investigation?
Well, I'll tell you this. With me and him being in the vice office, you know, we're dealing with, it's a little different than being out there in regular uniform. We're dealing with the worst of the worst out there, I guess, if lack of a better term, whatever. So all we're doing is getting guns and drugs on the street every day. You know, we're not really doing anything else. But I think the thing that really scares me, but just people not complying. You know, because it always turns. You know, if I pull you over in a car, you know, and before I even get to the window, you know, because I say the same thing all the time. You know, I'm Officer Nichols, Washington Metropolitan Police Department. The reason I pulled you over is because you ran that stop sign, right? Allow me to say my thing first, right? Before I even get to the car, you start telling me what you didn't do. We have a problem. You know what I'm saying? Hey, step out the car for me, real quick. You step out the car and everything, and I'm telling you to, you know, take your hands out your pockets and stuff like that. All that type of stuff makes me nervous. You know what I'm saying? You know, just relax. You know what I'm saying? Do as I say, everything will be fine. That's the main thing right there. That's a problem here. Is just compliance towards police officers. You know, you may not like it, just do it. You know what I'm saying? You know, all this stuff that's going on right now is because of not compliance to police officers. If I tell you get out the street, get out the street. You know, it's not that hard. You know, if I say, hey, look, put your hands behind your back, and I put handcuffs on you, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? There's always a better way to handle things other than resisting the police. Because the minute that you resist, you're making that police officer, make a decision. You know, we're not going to talk about if the decisions are good or bad, but you don't know who that police officer is. You know what I'm saying? You know, he may be a really bad police officer, right? So now you force his hand to make a bad decision. Or he could be a good police officer and, you know, nothing happens or whatever. But at the same time, it's just something is going to happen the minute that you're not comply. You know, me and him, we make contacts every day with people. You know, so if I stop you, right? You know, if I'm stopping this guy with the camera, and I say, hey man, come in real quick. You know, and he walks over, and I say, look man, get your hands out your pocket, and he refuses to do that. You know, I'm not just going to sit there and say, all right, you know what, just keep talking to me with your hands in your pocket. You know, I don't know what he has on. You know, so that action right there is going to cause me to do something. You know, I don't know what's going to happen at that point in time. You know what I'm saying? So I think just compliance with the police is the main issue right now that we're having problems with. You know,
I think, but every officer's going out on the street. They don't really think about it until it's over. Because we go out here, we do some of the wildest stuff. Man. I've had a part where I've chased a car, of course authorized, and we've done we going 100 miles an hour hitting corners, and then it's all fun. Then you get at home, you be like, that was real reckless. But I mean, to me, I don't really have something that puts me in danger. I know one of my biggest pet peeves, and I'm saying this to you guys, hoping that you guys will change it, is if you really want to protect yourself, know your rights and know the law. There's a lot of people walking around, we call them street lawyers, that they want to say what we can do, what we can't do, but they have no idea. They want to throw terms like probable cause at you, and they don't know it. If you know what you're entitled to do as a citizen, there's nothing that me or him could do to you that, because once you know what you can do, can't do, it's better for everybody involved. Don't just say you know what you're doing. You know what we're supposed to do. Actually take the time, learn your rights, because it's going to help you, it's going to help us. Because everything will go a lot smoother when you know what can be done to you and what we can do to you.
So, okay, this is just a quick question. When you were answering that question, you mentioned how lack of a compliance causes a lot of things that are going on. What specifically did you mean by saying a lot of things that are going on?
Well, like I said, without even getting too in depth with this current events, you know, the Garner case, the Brown case, you know, we're not going to talk about if the officer or that person was right or wrong. You know what I'm saying? We're the root of everything is just the fact that, you know, like the Mike Brown case, you know, the testimony was that, you know, he was in the middle of the street, right? You know, I wasn't there. I don't know what happened, right? Testimony from the police officer said that he was in the middle of the street and he was told to get out, right? And what happened after that? You know, he refused to get out of the street, whatever, right? That's the point in time right there where I believe that not compliance led to everything else. You know what I'm saying? The act of him walking to the sidewalk might have saved his life. You know, I don't know if you guys agree with me, but you know, if he would just walk to the sidewalk, maybe he'd still be here. You know what I'm saying? The Garner case, you know, testimony from the police officer said that, you know, he was selling illegal cigarettes.
Video.
You know, I don't know. You know, I wasn't there. You know, so I'm not gonna say what he was doing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just going off of testimony, right? So with that being said, you know, they told him to put his hands behind his back. It's on video. And what did he do? He refused to put his hands behind his back, and then what happened? You know, then they choked him out with him. Well, I'm not, like I said, I'm not talking about right or wrong. What I'm saying is that act right there of resistance caused something else. You know what I'm saying? So complying with the police officers, that officer may, you know, he may be placing you on arrest wrongfully, you know, or he may be being disrespectful. But what I'm saying is when you're compliant, 9 times out of 10, you know, you always have a better outcome to
When you're not compliant, you seem guilty.
Right.
I mean, whether you are or not, if I say, hey man, come over here and talk to me for a second, and you're not guilty, I'm not putting my hands on you, I'm just having a conversation with you. If you take off running, in my head I'm like, he's got something you don't want me to see.
We've chased, you know, hundreds of people before that did nothing wrong. You see what I'm saying? You know, some people they're just scared or they just run. You know what I'm saying? But me as a police officer, you know, if I'm, you know, we're in plain clothes, unmarked vehicles, we'll get out the car. You know, if main man right here with the green jacket on looks at me and takes off running, what you think I'm gonna do? You know, yeah, I'm gonna chase him. I don't know if he got a gun on him or whatever, you know, because that's telling me something is going on, right? So, you know, and then I catch it all of a sudden, you know, he's just, man, I'm just scared. And I pat him down and stuff and he doesn't have anything on him.
Just makes us angry.
Right.
We got an open house.
It might be something.
They can
Okay,
go
so-
to another class. Go ahead.
Okay, so y'all are bringing up a lot about resistance. So y'all understand that there's like bad opinions towards police.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, is there a way to ignore like the opinions of the people? Like, even though these are like people you're supposed to protect, like how do you feel about the fact that people are kind of against you? Like, do you feel like they're against you?
I'll break it down to you like this. Washington D.C. is predominantly black, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
So if I arrest mostly black people, am I to assume that all black people are criminals?
Oh,
So
the Democrats.
if there's some police that make mistakes, I don't think it's fair for somebody to assume that all police are criminals. Same if it makes sense to you that way. Everybody's human in police. There's some people that's messed up. I've seen some officers that I don't agree with what they do. But I think you should treat each officer how they treat you and what you see. That's my only thing. If you can say what you want about officers in the Gardner case, all right, that's your opinion. But that in no way should affect how I've treated you or how I've done something to you. Because everybody's different. Some people are criminals, some people law-abiding, some people are going to go on to do great things, some people are going to go on to do bad things. But there's nobody, I believe, in this world that you can look at and say, you know what, these two people are the same. My opinion of this person is going to be the same exactly as this person without taking anything into thought.
Yeah, I don't think we don't take nothing. You know, you can't take it personal as far as your job. You know what I'm saying? But when you're passionate about something and that's what you do every day, you know, and you know that you do it right, you know, of course, you know, when you hear stuff, whatever, you know, the other day, you know, we're walking down the street, you know, and then people putting their hands up saying don't shoot. You know, it ain't got nothing to do with me. You know what I'm saying? And like I'm respectful, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes I come out my mouth wrong when somebody does that, something like that, because that's disrespectful towards me. Like you know, if I had to take out my gun, it's for a reason. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing nothing that I'm not supposed to. You know what I'm saying? So when you do that type of stuff, you know, like what are you doing? You know what I'm saying? Like is this your way of you know, protesting because it's stupid? You know what I'm saying? You know, we've done nothing wrong to you. There's no reason to come at us in a way where, you know, it's showing disrespect. You know what I'm saying?
And the funny part about it is they'll come at us like this, and then we'll try to engage them in conversation. And then once they start talking, you're like, you don't even have the facts right. Like, you really don't. So, I mean, at some point in time, you go from being offended, and then when you realize this person doesn't know what they're talking about, it becomes comical.
And I guess just to add on to that, when you're actually talking to somebody that that there's a debate over, you know, like us and you guys, you know what I'm saying? There's a better understanding of what we do and what you guys do, whatever, you know what I'm saying? Me and Ms. Wright, we've known each other, you know, like 20 years or so, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we're on two different sides of the spectrum here, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, with all these current events, you know, we think differently, you know what I'm saying? We actually sat down and talked about it. So now we both have a little better understanding of the situation, you know what I'm saying? So we're not fighting each other. We just want a better understanding of, all right, so why is all this stuff going on? You know what I'm saying? Why is the communication between, you know, the police and the citizens wrong? You know what I'm saying? But you have to talk about it, just like we're doing that here with you guys.
You should leave the website for the video from yesterday.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And then, so like with all the stuff that happened in Ferguson and stuff, so like I don't like, so okay, is y'all police force like mainly black people, or like what's y'all demographic?
That's a good question. I want to say it's maybe 60-40.
Yeah.
I want to say maybe 60-40. Probably it's more, I wouldn't say black, it's more black and white, but it's, you got Asians, you have stuff like that. But I want to say 60-40.
We're talking about your questions. I'm sorry. Okay.
Okay, so in the instance that you were challenged by an unarmed minor, this is like aside from what you're taught to do in your training. Personally, what would be your first thing that you do, This is
my thing. You know, minor or not, it doesn't matter. You know, being unarmed, you only know when somebody's unarmed is when we've searched them. You know what I'm saying? The police officers work in the realm of the unknown. I have no idea what's in you guys' pockets right now. I have no idea what's in your jackets, right? You know, have I came in here and searched you guys? Mm-hmm. So I have no idea. You guys have wallets and stuff maybe inside your pockets? We don't have x-ray vision, and we don't, you know, we can't see through that stuff. So if it's a minor or an adult, you know, we treat everybody the same as far as the unknown. You know what I'm saying? So like, you know, we have a huge thing with, you know, let me see your hands, right? You know what I'm saying? If I can see your hands, I'm feeling a little better about the situation. You know what I'm saying? So there's a photo that I had, you know, I don't think we're gonna have time to show it, but you know, there was a juvenile, you know, gun in his waistband. Ain't nobody see that stuff. You know what I'm saying? And the only reason we saw it is because he just took it out. You know what I'm saying? So we treat every situation the same, and it's just to protect everybody. You know what I'm saying? Because you know, the more that I know, you know, about you or what's on you, you know, the better situation is, and that's how we treat minors. We treat them the same as adults.
So have you ever? Well, I'm sure you have, but the question was, have you ever found yourself in a situation like this? But I'm just gonna ask you to, how did you handle it?
Armed minor?
You mean disarmed?
No, unarmed. Well, you can answer.
No, what's the question? I don't want to add to it or take away from it.
Okay, just an unarmed person, period. Aside from a minor, since you said that you handled
if they're compliant, honestly, from what I've done, I'm gonna sit there, I'm gonna talk with you. Hey, even when I put you under arrest, if you're respectful, show me the same amount of respect, don't lie to me, and I'll sit there, I'll crack jokes with you, I'll let you know, hey, there's nothing personal. You're going here, you'll be out in so and so time. The issue is when you start to give me a hard time. That's when I'm not nice with you. If I find a charge of you, I'm gonna take you. What people don't realize is how you treat the police can also determine how you go to jail, because there's a lot of things that are left up to our discretion. Telling whether it's traffic stop, whether you committed a crime, telling the truth goes a long way when dealing with officers. We might lock you up, but at the same time, if we feel you told the truth, or it's a situation where we had to lock you up but we don't necessarily agree with it,
Somebody call Mike.
When it's time to go to court, we can do that. We can go down to court, speak on your behalf, stuff like that. But as far as me, I basically mirror how you treat me.
Okay, this is my last question. If this doesn't step over your boundary in answering my boundary.